Beneath thy trees, within thy halls, dear college, we give praise to thee, to pledge ourselves whate'er befalls, to pledge unfailing loyalty. Our hearts are with thee, dear William and Mary, however far we stray. Our noble college, hear us now, thy children sing to thee today. Dear college, old in years and fame, and richly old in honors too, time shall not dull the shining name, whose gleam of songs will e'er renew. And as years go by, dear William and Mary, thy fame will never cease. But each new year rejoice to see thy children's praise to thee increase. We honor thee not for our gain, but to make known thy majesty, thy truth and courage that remain, however harsh the fates may be. As through troublous years, dear William and Mary, our country fought, so thou hast fought, and won and lived to hear thy children singing to thee now. O thou our guardian and our guide, renew our courage every hour, and keep thy spirit by our side, to aid us with its watchful power. Throughout all our lives, dear William and Mary, we pledge our loyalty. Dear college, now and evermore, thy children cry all hail to thee. Beneath thy trees, within thy halls, dear college, we give praise to thee, to pledge ourselves whate'er befalls, to pledge unfailing loyalty. Our hearts are with thee, dear William and Mary, however far we stray. Our noble college, hear us now, thy children sing to thee today. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
Please sit. William and Mary family and friends, welcome to Charter Day 2015. We have gathered to celebrate the college's 222nd birthday. Let's begin by saluting the disciplines that emerged on our campus in 1779 through dramatic changes to the curriculum spurred by Thomas Jefferson when he was governor of Virginia and a member of our Board of Visitors. These 1779 disciplines were classical studies, law, mathematics, modern languages, philosophy, and physics. All of them, of course, are still alive and well at William and Mary today. Faculty members representing the original masters in these disciplines, please stand. I know you're here. King William and Queen Mary granted a royal charter to the college on February the 8th, 1693. As is our annual habit, we now revisit the text of the college's seminal document in part. William and Mary students will read excerpts from the charter. Then he and Choya, class of 2017, will share his reflections on the charter. After Ian speaks, our choir will sing, then I will come back.
William and Mary, by the grace of God, of England, Scotland, France, and Ireland, King and Queen, defenders of the faith, etc., to all to whom these our present letters shall come, greeting.
For as much as our well-beloved and faithful subjects, constituting the General Assembly of our colony of Virginia, have had it in their minds, and have proposed to themselves, to the end that the Church of Virginia may be furnished with a seminary of ministers of the gospel, and that the youth may be piously educated in good letters and manners, and that the Christian faith may be propagated amongst the Western Indians to the glory of Almighty God.
To make, found, and establish a certain place of universal study or perpetual college of divinity, philosophy, languages, and other good arts and sciences, consisting of 1 president, 6 masters or professors, and 100 scholars more or less, to be supported and maintained for all time coming.
And for as much as our well-beloved and trusty, the General Assembly of our colony of Virginia aforesaid, has humbly supplicated us, by our well-beloved in Christ, James Blair, clerk, their agent duly constituted, that we would be pleased not only to grant our royal license, but also to extend our royal bounty and beneficence towards the erection and foundation of the said college in such way and manner as to us shall seem most expedient.
And being desirous that forever hereafter there should be one such college or place of universal study, and some certain and undoubted way within the said college for the rule and government of the same, and for the masters and professors and scholars, and all others in abiding and residing therein, and that said college should subside and remain in all time coming of our special grace.
That they may have power to erect, found, and establish a certain place of universal study or perpetual college for divinity, philosophy, languages, and other good arts and sciences, consisting of 1 president, 6 masters or professors, and 100 scholars more or less, graduates and non-graduates, as above said, according to the statutes and orders of the said college, to be made, appointed, and established upon the south side of York River, on the land now in the possession of John Smith, to continue for all times coming.
And further, we will, and for us, our heirs and successors, by these presents do grant that when the said college shall be so erected, made, founded, and established, it shall be called and denominated forever the College of William and Mary in Virginia.
In testimony whereof we have caused these our letters to be made patent, witness ourselves at Westminster, the 8th day of February, in the 4th year of our reign, by writ of the Privy Seal.
Growing up, I would always be tucked into bed by my grandmother. Before she turned off the lights, my grandmother would say the same few words of wisdom in Korean before I slept. 희나, 인생은 많은 성공들 또는 실패들이 가득한 것이다. 할머니 나이 좀 돼서 인생을 뒤돌아볼 때 한 단어로 정리될 수도 있다. 희인, in your life, you will have many successes, accomplishments, and failures. By the time you are my age, you will look back at your life and try to define your experience in one word. I would reply, Grandma, let's talk about this tomorrow. I'm too tired. And rightfully so. As a young kid, it's safe to say I wasn't too concerned about my future feats. At the time, my biggest concern wasn't building the perfect resume or finding a job. It was deciding which color crayon I should use. However, just like every kid does, I unfortunately grew up. In what seemed like a blink of an eye, I was accepted to the greatest college in the world and was dropped off in front of Green and Gold Village with what seemed like all of my belongings. Just as I was starting my new beginning, around this time 322 years ago, the College of William and Mary was entering its first stage of greatness. Much like a freshman stuck in the units for the first time, the forefathers of our royal charter were excited, nervous, and slightly scared. As I read the story of the charter, I couldn't help but remember my grandmother's wisdom. As King William III and Queen Mary II granted William and Mary its charter in 1693, which word would they have chosen to define the college during this time? My guess is that they would have defined it in the most literal way possible. After all, in the charter, the college is described as a certain place of universal study, a perpetual school of divinity, philosophy, languages, and other good arts and sciences. However, if you ask any student now, they'll give you a completely different answer, a testament to how much William and Mary has grown. Ask a freshman, he might say excitement. Ask a senior, he might say family. Ask a tourist, he might say historic. But ask any student late on a Friday night, and we will all say Wawa. But it doesn't matter how different each word is when we choose to describe William and Mary. All of these words are tiny bits and pieces that are bricks that build the greatness and stature of this brilliant college. Much like the evolving and adapting royal charter, our definition of William and Mary will change and adapt as time passes. With every student that recites the honor code in Wren Chapel, William and Mary adds a new layer to its expanding definition. William and Mary is defined by the people on this campus. But it's easy to get lost in our definition of William and Mary with the countless hours at SWEM preparing for exams. We get so caught up in the future that we forget that we're young, intelligent minds that sometimes actually need a break. We're constantly pressured by society to live up to standards that we overlook the college's greatest resources, its students. Can you imagine how different our experience here would be if we heard everyone's story? We grow from judging someone's actions to understanding them. So if someone asks me now what legacy I want to leave at William and Mary or where I want to be in 20 years, for now, I'll be happy with answering like my 7-year-old self would have and simply focus on the present. Thank you.
I can read my title clear to mansions in the skies. I'll bid farewell to every fear and wipe my weeping eyes. And wipe my weeping eyes. And wipe my weeping eyes. I'll bid farewell to every fear and wipe my weeping eyes. Should earth against my soul engage and hellish darts be hurled, Then I can smile at Satan's rage and face a frowning world. And face a frowning world, and face a frowning world. Then I can smile at Satan's rage and face a frowning world. Let cares like a deluge come and storms of sorrow fall. May I but safely reach my home, my God, my head, my all. My God, my head, my all. My God, my head, my all. May I but safely reach my home, my God, my head, my all. There shall I bathe my weary soul in seas of heavenly rest, and not a wave of trouble roll across my peaceful breast. Across my peaceful breast, across my peaceful breast, and not a wave of trouble roll across my peaceful breast.
William & Mary has over 93,000 living alumni spread across all 50 states and the District of Columbia, 111 other countries, and 6 continents. So far, we have not permanently colonized Antarctica. The Alumni Medallion is the highest honor the College of William & Mary Alumni Association bestows on a graduate of the college. Honorees are chosen for extraordinarily distinguished service and accomplishment. Let me name those who will be honored at tomorrow's ceremony. Elizabeth Anderson, class of 1962. Virginia McLaughlin, class of 1971. And Martin Walsh, class of 1966. Betty, Jenny, Art, please stand and bask in our acclaim. The fourth recipient of the medallion tomorrow, Russell Brown, class of 1974, lost his battle with leukemia last year. A picture of Russ is now on the screens before you. We will recognize his extraordinary life and devotion to William & Mary posthumously. All of us, everyone, is warmly invited to the medallion ceremonies tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the Sadler Center. We come now to the 24th Chancellor of the College and our alumnus class of 1965, the Honorable Robert M. Gates. As we all know, Bob Gates had a brilliant career in public service, culminating in a time for 2 presidents as U.S. Secretary of Defense. But let's think back half a century to early fall 1961. That's when young Mr. Gates made his first pilgrimage from Kansas to Virginia to the colonial capital to begin his studies at the alma mater of the nation. He needed a scholarship from William & Mary to help make the college financially feasible for his family. He also had to earn money to help foot the bills. So Collegiate Bob drove a school bus full of Williamsburg and James City County kids. And it's profoundly in our national interest that people like Chancellor Gates be able to afford a college of the most compelling caliber, where they will be taught and encouraged by professors of great ability who know their students by name and care whether their students realize their full potential, and where students live and learn on a residential campus amid peers of serious ability and ambition. That's why our most pressing philanthropic need at William & Mary these days is to grow our scholarship endowments, lest young people of great ability and ambition but very limited means not be able to learn and grow amid the riches of a William & Mary education. And Chancellor Gates is able to sound William & Mary's scholarship trumpet with a powerful, persuasive force. Mr. Chancellor, we are yours.
Thank you, Taylor. It's always a pleasure to be back at William & Mary, though my green and gold attire as a student never shimmered like my bling as chancellor. It is hard to believe that it was 50 years ago this year that I graduated from William & Mary, and we will properly celebrate my class's achievement and longevity later this spring. It is also a pleasure to be back with you absent my neck brace disguised as an Elizabethan ruff. Charter Day is a momentous occasion, one where we pause to celebrate yet another birthday in the college's long life. William & Mary's historic grandeur is eclipsed only by its promise for the future. Our alumni have made a great impact on the course of our nation's history. And in their own time, this generation of students will make their own mark on the world. My brother and I were the first in the history of our family to attend college. And it was a scholarship that made it possible for me, a kid from Kansas, to come here, the alma mater of a nation. It was an individual, just one in the pantheon of William & Mary people, whose generosity helped make my William & Mary experience possible. And it's individuals, you and me, who can ensure that a William & Mary education is within reach for this generation of world-changing students. Scholarships, like the one I received, link one generation of William & Mary to another. They make a crucial difference today, and they will for all time coming. Each of us should consider how we can make a difference at William & Mary through scholarships. I'd like to add my congratulations to everyone being honored at this ceremony and throughout the weekend, particularly Dr. Harris and President Graves. The accolades are well-deserved. And I look forward to hearing from Jim Murray, a former rector of the college.
Since 1756, when Benjamin Franklin was awarded an honorary Master of Arts, William & Mary has recognized lives of powerful accomplishment through the conferral of honorary degrees. And we add two eminently worthy members to that roster today. I ask Rector Todd Stottlemyre and Chancellor Robert Gates to present the honorary degrees.
Grace Harris, please join us. Grace E. Harris, yours is a life spent opening doors of opportunity for others, doors that had not always been opened for you. Even from your earliest days, you valued education, though segregation hindered that pursuit. After graduating with highest honors in 1945 from Hampton University, your application to the Richmond Professional Institute, RPI, of the College of William & Mary, now Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, was rejected for racial reasons. Undeterred, you began graduate studies at Boston University, where Martin Luther King Jr. was a classmate. You returned to Virginia the following year after gaining admittance to RPI, where you earned your master's degree in social work. Your career began as a caseworker and supervisor for the Virginia Department of Welfare and Institutions. You rose to the ranks of Executive Director at Friends Association for Children and to Assistant Director of the Richmond Community Action Program before joining the faculty of VCU in 1967. You continued your education at the University of Virginia, where you earned a master's and doctorate degree in sociology. At VCU, you were appointed Dean and Professor of the School of Social Work, and in 1999, you became Vice President for Continuing Studies and Public Service. 3 years later, you were named Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and twice served as Interim President, becoming the highest-ranking woman and highest-ranking African American in the history of VCU, the institution which once denied your admission. Upon your retirement, VCU established the Grace E. Harris Leadership Institute in your honor.
Grace E. Harris, you have truly made a difference in our community and across the Commonwealth. We are honored to welcome you into the William and Mary family. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Visitors and the ancient royal charter of the College of William and Mary in Virginia, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
President Graves, please join us. And while President Graves is coming forward, I'm just going to take a moment of personal privilege. He was my president at the College of William and Mary, and it's just a distinct honor to see you, Dr. Graves. Thomas A. Graves, Jr., you have spent your life bringing ambitious vision to fruition. Upon your appointment as William and Mary's 23rd president, you replied to a student asking about your preparation for the role, quote, "I'll leave it to time to show my qualifications," unquote. The next 14 years demonstrated how qualified you were, graced with a sterling character, impeccable values, a firm and steady hand, and a genuinely good nature. You ushered in the new era for William and Mary. Under your leadership, the college grew as a university while retaining a powerful commitment to undergraduate education. The graduate and professional schools were strengthened and research was emphasized. You created the position of provost and centralized fundraising into one development office, which exceeded expectations during a 3-year campaign. The campus continued to grow under your presidency as William and Mary fully integrated the Virginia Institute of Marine Science and constructed a new home for the law school. Students thrived under your guidance as you encouraged the student body to take greater responsibility for its own governance. William and Mary became more inclusive as you expanded non-discrimination policies and actively pursued diversity. Students of color tripled within a decade, and the first women received athletic scholarships. You and your wife Zoe forged lasting relationships with and remain cherished members of the university community. One of William & Mary's highest faculty honors, an award for sustained excellence in teaching, bears your name. In 1988, the board bestowed upon you the title of President Emeritus, and you were named an honorary alumnus in 2002.
Thomas A. Graves, Jr., your transformational leadership played a vital role in William & Mary's evolution as a great public ivy. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Visitors and the ancient royal charter of the College of William & Mary in Virginia, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
We come now to our Charter Day speaker, James B. Murray, Jr., an alumnus of William & Mary Law School and former rector of the university. Jim's professional success is rivaled only by his service to the college. He has excelled as a venture capitalist, as a philanthropist, and as a leader. Jim and his wife Bruce established the original 1693 Scholars Program, which has proved absolutely crucial in attracting students to William & Mary of truly compelling past accomplishment and future potential. Jim was named an outstanding alumnus of the law school in 1975. In 2000, he received an honorary degree from William & Mary. In 2001, he became the first recipient of an alumni medallion who did not do his undergraduate work at William & Mary. Mr. Murray's leadership of William & Mary's Monroe Commission and of what's called the Presidential Precinct is bringing long overdue attention to one of William & Mary's most distinguished alumni, James Monroe, the 5th President of the United States. Jim Murray, please come speak to us.
Thank you, President Reevely. It's a great honor to return to this stage on this day, the most inspiring day on the college calendar. Let me tell you a story. It is 1814. A young nation is struggling to survive. Still reeling from a brutal war with an imperialist power, now it's under siege again. In Congress, tempers flare. Many doubt whether this experiment in democracy will survive. On the northern frontier, generals surrender. The enemy advances. The Secretary of State urges for a defensive perimeter around the capital. The Secretary of War vacillates. He's a weak, self-important man. The enemy's war fleet drops anchor. Troops make land. The Secretary of War again ignores urgent defensive advice and then disregards orders from the President. The enemy advances. The situation's dire. Into this unfolding disaster steps the civilian Secretary of State, who, despite no military rank, rounds up a troop of cavalry, mounts the lead horse, and sets off in the direction of the enemy, out to gather intelligence about the pending attack. He is brave, and his reports are accurate, but it's too late. Troops scatter in retreat, citizens flee in panic. The Capitol building, the President's house, all government offices are burned to the ground before the enemy marches away. The President holds a cabinet meeting amongst the smoldering ruins. He listens. His advisors recommend surrender. Exhausted by hundreds of miles in the saddle for days on end, the Secretary of State has heard enough. With clarity and courage, he speaks. If anyone moves towards the enemy, they will be met with the bayonet. Moved by this fierce determination, President Madison adjourns the meeting. The government and citizens rally. The nation lives another day. The Secretary of State remounts his horse and heads north to help defend Baltimore. Within a week, President Madison, realizing that the salvation of the country may depend on this man, names the Secretary of State his new Secretary of War, making it the only time in U.S. history that one man has held both positions simultaneously. I wonder, might we be better off today if occasionally Bob Gates had done the same? Our re-inspired Army performs just well enough to win the Battle of Baltimore. The enemy general is killed. The British withdraw, a stalemate. 3 months later, the War of 1812 is ended. The fragile young nation is saved. Who is this striking hero? James Monroe, William and Mary, class of 1776. Here at the college, we pay obeisance to Monroe's legacy. We have Monroe Hall, Monroe Scholars, and even today's James Monroe Prize. But what do we really know about this man? And outside of Williamsburg, who recalls the achievements of this last of America's founding fathers? The Monroe Doctrine? Maybe. Anything else? Doubtful. We all revere the history of the college. We feel the pride of it in our bones. Yet our appreciation for the roots of that pride is often episodic. Yes, we remember Jefferson, 3 fires at the Wren Building, and maybe the ringing of the bell at the end of the Civil War. But too often we overlook the greater glory of having educated one of America's greatest presidents. At age 19, while many classmates slept comfortably in their Williamsburg beds, James Monroe was freezing at Valley Forge. A volunteer lieutenant, he advanced across the icy Delaware, where, a day ahead of General Washington, he suffered life-threatening wounds at the Battle of Trenton, and he was eventually promoted to colonel. James Monroe went on from the Continental Army to serve in the Virginia House of Delegates, then to the Virginia State Senate. The Senate sent him to represent Virginia in the Continental Congress. If we stop right there, that is a remarkable career of public service. But then, at age 32, Monroe was elected to the United States Senate. Then U.S. Minister to France. Then Governor of Virginia for the first of 4 eventual terms. Then Envoy Extraordinaire to Paris. From Paris to Madrid and London as U.S. Minister to Spain and to Great Britain. Then Secretary of State, and on then, as we now know, to Secretary of War. In 1816, at age 58, James Monroe was elected to the first of 2 terms as the 5th President of the United States. So why is it that today it is not more widely recognized? Why is James Monroe not more widely recognized among the handful of truly great American presidents? Perhaps because Monroe was the only founding father from humble origins. He was not a wealthy aristocratic planter or landed gentry like the 4 founders who preceded him. He was from modest roots. He was the first in his family to attend college. He was raised in a wooden 4-room Westmoreland County farmhouse, and he always considered himself a farmer. Perhaps his youth counted against him. Monroe was 17 and a sophomore at William and Mary when the Declaration of Independence was signed. He was 52 years younger than Benjamin Franklin, 26 years junior to Washington, 23 years behind Adams, 15 behind Jefferson, and 6 behind Monroe. Was he too young? Perhaps Monroe lacked the flair that makes the celebrity. While Washington and Lafayette commanded their attention from horseback, Monroe was a foot soldier. He didn't discover electricity or design iconic buildings. Unlike his friends Patrick Henry and James Madison, he never learned to speak to make the rafters ring. Unlike Jefferson and Madison, he was a stilted writer with poor penmanship who left behind few soaring documents. Yet, by the time he was 60, he had done as much as any of these men to organize, secure, and preserve the Republic. In today's terms, he would be known as an operational CEO. the Eric Schmidt to Google's Sergey Brin. So while Monroe may not be called a creator of this nation, he should be credited with being a builder of this nation, a nation builder. For example, Jefferson conceived of a smaller Louisiana Purchase, but it was James Monroe who closed the grand deal with Napoleon. Henry Clay ramrodded the Missouri Compromise through Congress, but it was Monroe's threatened presidential veto that forced the parties to the table. There's much to tell. The Northwest Ordinance, Native Americans defended interstate transportation, but I have not the time. But we should acknowledge that James Monroe did not act alone to build a nation. Like all great leaders, he directed and inspired a long list of statesmen, diplomats, and politicians who helped implement his vision. And like all the founding fathers, Monroe too had feet of clay. While opposed to slavery, his opposition remained largely a matter of principle only. He was recalled from his first ministry to France. He was an advocate of education for women, but never connected values to action. And perhaps most surprising, Monroe led the opposition to the final version of the U.S. Constitution. He wanted more, a Bill of Rights, and others. In fairness, his opposition may have ultimately advanced that cause, but still, Monroe was on the losing side of ratification. In hindsight, it's easy to see shortcomings, but over the arc of a 50-year career of public service, there is so much more that outweighs them, so much that made this man essential to our republic's survival. To understand the impact of Monroe's long career as a nation builder, we need only ask, what if? What if Monroe had hesitated, rigidly obeyed his orders, and failed to seize the chance to buy Louisiana? What if he'd botched the opportunity to get Florida from Spain, or to establish the boundary with Mexico, or the border with Canada? Or before all that, what if Monroe had not led the fight in Congress against the New England merchants who were conniving to surrender trading rights on the Mississippi in order to sell more codfish to Spain? What if? Well, the people of Orlando and Phoenix might be speaking only Spanish today. The people of Alabama might be buying their football tickets with French francs. The mayor of Seattle might be pledging allegiance to Queen Elizabeth, and they might be singing the Marseillaise in Memphis. In short, the United States might have been no more than a medium-sized 13-precinct country appended to the eastern edge of a multi-nation continent. Instead of a vast nation of striving entrepreneurs, might we have been a little nation of shopkeepers, mill workers, and serfs? What if, in the midst of war, Monroe had not taken the bold and probably illegal gamble of borrowing $5 million on his own signature, or if he had not had the courage to challenge his own party and support a national bank? Would the reeling nation have survived a default on our national debt? Or would we, today, be paying British taxes on our tea? Finally, what if President Monroe had not used the power of the presidency to promote the Missouri Compromise? Would our 30-year-old nation have survived for 2 more generations until Lincoln could lead millions to war to preserve it? Or might the Confederate flag be standing there? These may seem exaggerations, but occasionally we need reminding that so much we take for granted about our nation today was far from assured during those early years. It took a nation-building president to assure this nation. All of Monroe's nation-building accomplishments and many more can be traced to his skill for compromise, his gift for finding common cause. It was no coincidence that Monroe's presidency launched America's era of good feeling. Where did Monroe learn the wisdom to seek common cause, the bravery to lead men in the battlefield, the courage to negotiate with emperors, debate with Henry and Hamilton, confront all of imperialist Europe with the Monroe Doctrine? Where did he learn? Well, it began right here, where he met demanding professors, borrowed books on government and philosophy from Thomas Jefferson, and first met the legal scholar, George Wythe. William and Mary helped make a leader out of this young farmer. Monroe's biographer, Harry Ammon, writes that Monroe was reflective, never rushing to conclusions, but forming them deliberately. He displayed tact, warmth, and patience in human relations. He was a pragmatist, not a dreamer. These are, of course, the attributes of an educated man. The attributes that even today we at William & Mary hope to instill in those who come here, like Monroe, thirsty to learn about the world and to make a difference in the course of human affairs. So now that we know more about the story of James Monroe, how might we work together to further his legacy as a nation builder? There's much work to be done. President and Rector Stottlemyre have some inspired ideas. In fact, the rector has begun by appointing his predecessor, Rector Emeritus Jeff Trammell, to head a working group on a new Monroe revival, and there's more to come. But we may ask, why now? Why is it important today that we revive the memory of this lesson and lessons of one of our greatest? Well, think together about our national political situation. In recent years, we have seen little that we can call success, nationally or internationally. Nationally, we flounder. Nationally and internationally, we live in a time when diplomacy can be driven by passions, when facts can be casually manipulated to pander to populist prejudice, when culture can be used as an excuse to disdain economics or even medical science, and when tribalism, corruption, and religious hysteria can readily dictate national policy. We should ask, where are our leaders? Are there no Monroes, those who put nation ahead of self? We should also ask, where have we the people been? For the tragedy of the last 2 decades has also been about a failure of citizenship. The truth is that without statesman-like leaders like Monroe and active citizens like the William & Mary graduates of the Revolutionary era, we will seek in vain for recovery of national greatness. So now, more than at any time since World War II, America needs Monroe to remind us what leadership looks like. Our task of reviving Monroe's legacy includes investing in our Westwood outpost. Perhaps not well known to many of you, Monroe's home site near Charlottesville is the only presidential site in America owned by a university. James Monroe's farm, Highland, is important because it stands as a testament to the bonds of friendship and collaboration among Monroe and his fellow Virginia legends, James Madison and Thomas Jefferson. Throughout their lives, Jefferson, Madison, and their younger protege, Monroe, sought each other's company. When Congress first met in Philadelphia, they shared rooms in the same boarding house. Each understood well the strength of the other. Each knew that being just a day's horseback ride away would allow them invaluable opportunities to continue learning, collaborating, and encouraging each other. Today, Highland's proximity to Monticello and Montpelier and to Jefferson's other university offer great promise for the future mission of the college. As we speak, William & Mary plays a vital role in a collaboration that is reviving that classical relationship between Monroe, Madison, and Jefferson. This new enterprise is called the Presidential Precinct. The Presidential Precinct is a collaboration that joins these 3 presidential sites and 2 great universities into a powerful partnership. We provide a physical and virtual place where young leaders from around the world can come study what these men, particularly Monroe, accomplished, a place to study nation building. The Presidential Precinct is putting William & Mary and our property at Highland on the world stage. Through the virtual power of the web and the physical power of convening great minds, as Monroe, Madison, and Jefferson once convened, the precinct is becoming known around the world as the place where young leaders gather. They come to learn about democracy, civil society, the rule of law, and the civic and economic institutions that can help make struggling nations successful in a shrinking, interconnected world. William & Mary's future lies not just in residential programs here in Williamsburg, not just with the traditional sage on a stage lecturing to children of privilege from Fairfax County. William & Mary's future lies in taking our place in the global marketplace of ideas with an international audience. Here at the college and through the Presidential Precinct, we and Monroe have much to teach the world about building successful nations, about nation building. In 1798, Monroe wrote to St. George Tucker about his alma mater. These are his words. William and Mary reared the youth who had the firmness and virtue sufficient to stem the current which threatened our liberties. If I were to compose an oration and deliver it to a public festival, it would be in favor of our alma mater and the noble effort her offspring has lately made in defense of the holy cause of mankind. Today, 217 years after Monroe wrote those words, William and Mary must forge its place in the shrinking, interconnected world where the threat to liberty is great, immeasurably dispersed, and instantaneous. We must send forth our graduates, using James Monroe as our model, to, in his words, defend the holy cause of mankind. Thank you.
Jim Murray, thank you for those magnificent remarks about our alumnus, Monroe. And I should say there will be a graven image of Monroe, a large graven image, coming soon to the campus. We thought it would be here in time for Charter Day. It will be here in time for the 50th reunion. Each year at Charter Day, we recognize 2 members of our faculty and 1 student who, in the judgment of their colleagues, have vision and wisdom in the Jeffersonian tradition. We also recognize a student who, in the spirit of James Monroe, has a powerful commitment to good citizenship and service. Vice President for Student Affairs, Ginger Ambler, Provost Michael Halloran, Daniel Vivas, and John Pothen. Daniel and John, both from the class of 2011, will assist in these awards presentations. Ginger Ambler.
The second of 3 United States presidents to graduate from the College of William and Mary, James Monroe lived according to the principle summarized in his first inaugural address: from a just responsibility, I will never shrink. The Owens Foundation has made possible a student award recognizing service and leadership in the tradition of President Monroe. This year, we honor Marge Lobeck. Marge, please join me. Marge, your commitment to service as a big sister and as a horseback riding instructor for adults and children with disabilities at Dreamcatchers has enhanced your academic pursuits as a sharp community scholar. Your leadership in the Alternative Breaks program connects William and Mary students with people in Tanzania as they work together to prevent the spread of HIV. Camp Kesem, which you helped establish, provides a refuge for children whose parents are struggling with cancer, allowing them to find comfort in others who share similar pain. You bring enthusiasm, curiosity, and passion to all that you do.
Marge. Here is your well-deserved James Monroe Prize in Civic Leadership.
The Thomas Jefferson Prize in Natural Philosophy goes to a William and Mary student of superior academic performance and potential for future achievement, whose work embraces the 18th century idea of natural philosophy. William Bergen, please join me. Will, faculty members who have worked closely with you declare you to be one of the most inspiring and creative students whom they have had the good fortune to teach. A double major, in physics and mathematics. You have maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA while making valuable contributions to particle physics research. You have won 2 prestigious summer internships, one at the Large Hadron Collider in CERN, the International Research Lab, where the ever-elusive Higgs particle was first observed, and the other with the Department of Energy. As several of your mentors have remarked, your work rivals those of many graduate students.
Well, Will, it is, of course, impossible to maintain a perfect 4.0 while double majoring in 2 intensely difficult and sophisticated disciplines. Congratulations to have the Thomas Jefferson Prize, which you have won fair and square.
Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes. The Thomas Jefferson Teaching Award was established as a tribute to teachers who, through encouragement and example, helped to shape the young Jefferson. The award honors younger members of the faculty who have inspired in their students a love of learning. This year we honor John Rio Frio. I was asked to introduce Rio and speak about the impact he had on my life. Honestly, the only thing that kept coming to my mind was that words are meager things. They fail us typically when we need them most. I feel that they will fail me now because no words will be able to encapsulate the impact Rio has had on my life. Either way, I'll give it a try. Mark Twain once wrote that true free speech and fully standing for what you believe in is only a privilege of the dead. Rio taught me how to stand and to speak while I was still alive. Rio, I love you like a father, and I can think of no teacher more deserving than you, my friend. I'm not sure where I'd be without you. For that and for you, I am eternally grateful, and I'm honored to stand here next to you. Damas y caballeros, John Rio Frio.
Rio, you have made an enormous difference for the better already at William & Mary, and you haven't been here all that long. It's quite wonderful to be able to present you with the Thomas Jefferson Teaching Award, and I'll even take the Rio sign off it.
Good afternoon, William and Mary. All right, thank you. I've been told I have 3 minutes, but I'm also from a Latino family with a decidedly flexible sense of time. So I'll push those boundaries as I begin by mentioning a few important people. I'd like to begin by congratulating those with me on stage whose achievements have earned them William and Mary's respect and admiration, particularly President Graves, and Dr. Harris. It is deeply an honor for me to share the stage with you. Special congratulations to David Day on receiving the Jefferson Award. I met him just 5 minutes ago, but I have met many of his students. All of them, I assure you, have spoken highly of their respect for him, his work, and the organizations he founded. I'd also like to express my sincere gratitude to the Department of Modern Languages and the Award Committee for their hard work on my behalf. I consider myself exceptionally fortunate to work in modern languages, a department whose service to the William & Mary community far exceeds our actual size. My colleagues' generosity of spirit, their intelligence, and their fierce dedication to quality teaching has been a constant source of inspiration. Although I can barely see them because of the bright, momentary lights of stardom, my family is here. They made the trip from all over the East Coast, and I am greatly moved by their presence. Familia, les quiero. A few words about my students. In my 6 years at William & Mary, my admiration for our students has grown enormously. What an exceptional collection of dedicated, hardworking, and gifted people. It is my sincere hope that I have taught them a modest fraction of what they have taught me. I'll end here my august preamble. Is that not the perfect Taylor Reevely phrase? By saying what a deep honor it is to have been introduced by my former student, Daniel Vivas. He is what every William & Mary student strives to be: sincere, thirsty for knowledge, and an inveterate troublemaker with a deep social conscience. When he finishes his PhD in education, he would make an outstanding addition to William & Mary's faculty. I am as proud of him as I am proud to know him. Like so many of our alumni, he is working hard to push our society to live up to its promise and its ideals. The gap between our ideals and our practice is visible in many corners, big and small. But today I'd like to focus on the way we talk about teachers. While we often hear about the importance and value of education, as a society we compensate teachers far less than other professions, while making and repeating false assumptions that all teachers, quote, have it good. You know the story. We take our summers off, we have long breaks, and we recycle the same material year in and year out. There are, no doubt, some teachers who do those things, but in the almost 20 years that I've been an educator, I've never met any of them. People, politicians often, take the worst teachers and try to make them a stand-in for the whole. We revel in a public discourse that excoriates a few bad teachers while showing none of the same vitriol for a system that has created the social conditions, more poverty, bigger classes, less resources, that make it harder and harder for even the best of teachers to succeed. We talk of accountability by aiming for the low-hanging fruit of a few bad teachers because the real problems are deeper, more complicated, and run counter to the comfortable narratives we've constructed about ourselves. So I'm taking my 3 minutes, modestly but sincerely, to speak up for teachers in general, to posit the argument that none of us, not one person who has experienced a modicum of success, has done so without the help of a teacher, some teacher, in whatever form that teacher took. The teachers I know, from pre-K through higher ed, are generous in their devotion, restless in their efforts to improve the outcomes of their students, and self-critical to a flaw. And this is perhaps the most important point I'd like to make today. In addition to being oft-belittled, teaching remains the most consistently underestimated of professions. Over and over again, I've heard well-intentioned students remark that if this or that job doesn't work out, or if this or that graduate program doesn't accept them, quote, well, I might just teach for a couple of years. Why is this? If we collectively agree that education is crucial and that education as a goal or even a concept is impossible without teachers, why do we so consistently and shamelessly belittle them? I believe the answer is somewhat simple. We've all dealt firsthand with teachers. They have been an intimate part of our daily lives for enormous stretches of time. And I believe that ironically, this functions to the detriment of teachers, because while we wouldn't presume to know what a doctor's job is based on the 3 or 2 minutes that we get in the examination room, and while we wouldn't presume to understand the job of a financial analyst based on a 3-minute segment on CNBC Money, or to understand the job of a lawyer based on the 14 documents we've been asked to sign, we believe that we do know exactly what teachers do, and more potently, we believe we know exactly how they do it. We don't. You don't. It's harder than it looks, and it's more difficult than you might imagine. It is precisely because teachers are so consistently self-critical that I believe we, are a model for others. If all professions, if our politicians and civic leaders led with that same dedication to self-critique and thoughtfulness, I believe firmly, fervently, that the world we share would be a better, more humane place. Before going back to my seat, I'd like to make one last quick comment. Upon winning the Thomas Jefferson Teaching Award, I learned that there used to be a tradition on campus of greeting that year's winner with nickels. Each person that greeted and congratulated the winner offered him or her a nickel, because of course it's the nickel that bears Thomas Jefferson's visage. I think, having won this year, that it's a lovely tradition, and I'm all for reviving it. That said, I'd like to emphasize that Benjamin Franklin is an honorary alumni. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The Jefferson Award is the most prestigious honor bestowed upon a faculty member who has demonstrated a deep devotion and outstanding service to the college, and whose life, character, and influence on the college exemplify the principles of Thomas Jefferson. The Jefferson Award is the most prestigious, forgive me. These things said, today we honor Dr. David Aday. All who know Dr. Day will agree that what sets him apart is not just his prodigious accomplishments, and they are many, but who he is. He combines a dedication to innovation with a warm, thoughtful, and relentless love for others. As a result, he partners with those who seem powerless to do the things that seem impossible. His leadership contributions to the college are immeasurable. His commitment to students is second to none. Few people have had a more significant impact on my life, and I know that's a sentiment shared by countless others. To put it simply, it's unbelievable what a difference a day makes. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. David Aday.
David, for your steadfast devotion to your students, to the college, and your really tireless contributions to the good of the university for a very, very long time. It is quite wonderful to present you with the Thomas Jefferson Award.
I knew I shouldn't follow Rio. That would be a mistake, and I was pretty sure I shouldn't follow John either. But Rio, you didn't get your nickels?
One or two.
Oh, okay, well, thank you all very much. More than a decade ago, I was approached by a few students who posed the following question to me. Is it possible to build from the academics through research and theory to engage real-world problems like marginalization and healthcare disparities, drawing on the fullest of my wisdom? I responded confidently, I don't know. Since that time, more than 150 students have taken the challenge implied by that question. They created 2 student-owned and operated organizations called Student Organization for Medical Outreach and Sustainability, or SOMOS, and Medical Aid Nicaragua Outreach Scholarship. These remarkable students have challenged me to pursue knowledge and to test the following hypotheses. 1, that knowledge is power, and 2, that power can be shared respectfully with the citizens of communities facing problems of marginalization and healthcare disparity. Together, we're refining a model of participatory development, shaping methods of community-based participatory research, and working side by side with those who know their lives and their needs best. That work would not be possible without the generosity of the family of Patricia W. Sisson, Mr. Luis Navas, Mrs. Ruth Hines, just to name a few, who have decided to support this grand experiment. Throughout my career, I've been challenged by my students to work beyond my abilities, and I've been inspired by faculty colleagues who struggle to find that delicate balance between the very best of scholarship and deeply engaged teaching. And I've been supported by staff colleagues who come to work every day determined to go beyond expectations and meager resources to advance the mission of the college. Throughout it all, I've been surrounded by my family. Sherry, happy birthday. Ryan and Derek, Erica, Katie, Connor. In spite of it all, they love me, and I appreciate that. I wish that the students of Somos and Manos could be standing here with me today. They're represented by John Pothen. I'd love to have them here because they truly deserve the recognition. They have inspired me, they have pushed me, they have challenged me, they have defined and shaped and propelled the very best work of my career. Thank you all very much.
Former Jefferson Award recipients anywhere in the hall, in honor of your extraordinary contributions to William & Mary, please stand and let us salute you. And I know some of you are here. All right, we have made it to closing remarks. As most of you know, I don't do long closing remarks, so don't panic. All right, so we're 322 years old. Well, just how old is that? Unless you're Methuselah, or perhaps a giant redwood tree, 322 is really old, at least by human standards. By 322, if you're human, no hair, no teeth, no nothing would be left. But William & Mary, though created and sustained by humans, transcends human limits. William & Mary is a university, a robustly healthy university, and often a great university is just beginning to get in gear by its 322nd birthday. Think about Oxford and Cambridge. No one is quite sure when Oxford was born, but it probably had its 322nd birthday in the year 1418. Cambridge hit that mark in 1531. Both Oxford and Cambridge remain robustly alive and well in 2015. This is to say that a lot of institutions of higher education are remarkably durable creations, far more stable and long-lived than corporations, or even a lot of nations, to say nothing of most other not-for-profit institutions. And I think this is especially so for colleges and universities that have been tempered by the fires of war and privation, but like the phoenix, have risen from the ashes. William & Mary has been so tempered, both the Revolutionary War and the Civil War laid us low, took us within a breath of extinction. Then our most famous alumnus defected to create a competing institution after being brilliantly educated at his alma mater. The capital of Virginia left us, fleeing to Richmond during the Revolutionary War to avoid British invaders, taking with it the rich economic, political, and social resources that had previously graced the college's hometown, graced Williamsburg. And there have been times, particularly in the 1800s, when William & Mary didn't have even 2 nickels, Rio, to rub together, or enough students to keep body and soul intact. But throughout, William & Mary has proved to be more than simply durable and long-lived. It's proved to be nigh unto indestructible. The alma mater of the nation is one tough phoenix. It is one tough bird. Students now to college, you're going to live to see your alma mater, rise to extraordinary heights in the 21st century, your century, sustained in part by your own lifelong commitment to it. As we know, William and Mary was born on February the 8th, 1693, so it won't actually be 322 years old until Sunday. Nonetheless, it deserves a cheer. And I think this year we'll use those elegantly inscrutable words, hark upon the gale, whatever they may mean. So I'm going to propose a cheer to William and Mary, extraordinary, indestructible, marvelous William and Mary, on her 322nd birthday, and then everybody, if you will, say hark, hark, hark. As with all my cheers, this is not a tough one, but I found practice helps. So on 3, let's hear a really good hark. We're just practicing. 1, 2, 3, hark. You got, we are really good. All right. In honor of William and Mary's 322nd birthday, let us hark together 3 times. Hark, hark, hark. William and Mary is grateful. No birthday is complete without singing happy birthday. Passing notes will now do the deed.
Happy birthday, dear friend, we sing to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. We thought we'd try to tell you how we love on your birthday. We thought we'd try to sing and dance and play. Today, we wanted to surprise you on your birthday and say, we love you every day, not just today. Happy birthday, dear friend, we sing to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bill and Mary, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. We're gonna sign a charter like it's your birthday. And you know that we love you on your birthday. William and Mary, loved of old, hark upon the gale. Hear the thunder of our chorus, alma mater hail. We wish you a happy birthday, a joyful and celebrated birthday. William and Mary, we wish you a long, long life. We wish you a happy birthday, a joyful and celebrated birthday, a joyful and celebrated birthday. We wish you a celebrated birthday. We wish you a long, long life. We wish you a long, long life.
Passing notes, that was really great. I wonder every year what happy birthday is going to sound like. That was a good one. They've all been good. All right, a few last-minute announcements. Students, please leave your mark for all time coming by signing your names to the 2015 Charter Day scroll It'll go in the university archives. Also, pick up your Charter Day pins. Pins and scrolls are located on both sides of this hall as you leave. Pay attention to the bag your pin comes in. Some bags are marked with a gold seal. If you cage one with a gold seal, you have won a floor ticket to the Charter Day concert tonight. Now, let's stand for the alma mater, and after it's over, if you'll stay in place, audience, until the platform party leaves and the honor guard has left, life will be easier. Now, I'm told the words of the alma mater are going to appear on the screen. If not, they're probably in the book. If they're not on the screen, they're not in the book. We should know them. They're in the book. The choir will lead us. Let us enjoy a really rousing rendition of the alma mater. Choir.
Hark the students' voices swelling, strong and true and clear. Alma maters love their telling, ringing far and near. William and Mary, loved of old, hark upon the gale. Hear the thunder of our chorus, alma mater hail. God our Father, hear our voices, listen to our cry. Bless the college of our fathers, let her never die. William and Mary, loved of old, hark upon the gale. Hear the thunder of our chorus, alma mater hail. William and Mary, loved of old, hark upon the gale. Hear the thunder of our chorus, alma mater hail. Beneath thy trees, within thy halls, dear college, we give praise to thee, to pledge ourselves whatever befalls, to pledge unfailing loyalty. Our hearts are with thee, dear William and Mary, however far we stray. Our noble college, hear us now, thy children sing to thee today. Dear college, old in years and fame, and richly old in honors too, time shall not dull the shining name, whose gleam our songs will ever renew. And as years go by, dear William and Mary, our fame will never cease. But each new year rejoice to see thy children's praise to thee increase. We honor thee not for our gain, but to make known thy majesty, thy truth and courage that remain, however harsh the fates may be. As through troublous years, dear William and Mary, our country fought, so thou hast fought, and won and lived to hear thy children singing to thee now. O thou our guardian and our guide, renew our courage every hour, and keep thy spirit by our side, to aid us with its watchful power. Throughout all our lives, dear William and Mary, we pledge our loyalty. Dear college, now children cry all hail to thee. Beneath thy trees, within thy halls, dear college, we give praise to thee, to pledge ourselves whatever befalls, to pledge unfailing loyalty. Our hearts are with thee, dear William and Mary, however far we stray. Our noble college, hear us now, thy children sing to thee today. Dear college, old in years and fame, and richly old in honors too, time shall not dull the shining name, whose gleam our songs will e'er renew. And as years go by, dear William and Mary, thy fame will never cease. But each new year rejoice to see thy children's praise to thee increase. We honor thee not for our gain, but to make known thy majesty, thy truth and courage that remain, however harsh the fates may be. As through troublous years, dear William and Mary, our country fought, so thou hast fought, and won and lived to hear thy children sing.